Hi, Kitchen Kings and Queens. Okay, so today we're going to make something a little different. We're going to make something called a bar pie. And it's a pizza that's made in a pan like this. Usually they're silver or black, but they're basically a very shallow rimmed pan. Okay. And to prepare this pan, we're going to put a little bit of olive oil, and you could put any oil. I prefer olive oil, and a little bit of butter. Okay. So that's what I'm melting is just a little bit of butter. Okay. This is going to make a really crispy bottom to this pan pizza. Okay. So we're going to take, and this is just a tablespoon of butter and basically a tablespoon of olive oil. And you just want to kind of make sure that it all gets distributed on the pan. This is a 14-inch pan. And this pan I just got recently. So it was just kind of spoke to me that I needed to make this pizza. Okay, I also defrosted some of my dough that I made before. There is a special kind of dough, so I'll put a link to another YouTuber that has a video that has a really good recipe for the dough, but I'm just using my dough, okay? Because the magic of this happens in the pan, okay? It happens with the oil, the hot temperature, and the pan. Okay, so we want to get this into a circle ish, and we want to put it into the pan. And you just want to start coaxing it. Okay, this is going to be a process. It's not going to happen like right away. You just kind of want to get it into a relative circle, and then as it relaxes, you can spread it out a little bit more. Okay, so this is an easy recipe, but it's not a rush recipe. Okay, you can't really rush it. Or you do what I just did and you get holes. Okay, so you want to make sure that you don't have any holes. And you get holes when you are rushing this process. Okay, so we're going to just patch that hole. Okay, and then we're just going to leave this to rest a little bit. And then as it rests, we'll come back and we'll be able to spread it a little bit more. Okay. Okay, Kitchen Kings and Queens, we're back. And we're going to just gently pull this dough so that we can give it a little help. And then once we stretch it to the edge, then we can just kind of work it. Okay. And the butter and oil have kind of like stuck it down a little bit. So you're going to have to just coax it out. Okay. And you just want to make sure it fills the pan. Okay. Because this type of pizza, the bar pie, it doesn't have a edge to it. Okay. It has like the toppings and the sauce and everything just go all the way to the edge. It's a very thin pizza, and it's, kind of like a cracker thin crust. Okay, so you just want to make sure that we get it all the way to the edge. And I'm gonna kind of push it up the sides of the edge. Just because I made like a one of these yesterday, and it pulled back a little bit. So I think this will make sure that it keeps its size. Okay. All right. So there is our pizza. Now we're going to put our sauce on. And it's just a very simple um, sauce. You want it nice and dry. So if you use like a jarred sauce, or what you really should use is just crushed tomatoes in a can. You just want to make sure that you drain them, okay? So that they don't add too much moisture. Because if they add too much moisture, you're not going to get that crispiness on the bottom, okay? And again, we are not doing any sort of a crust here. We're spreading it all the way to the edge. Okay, so no crust, no edge, just sauce all the way across. Okay, and it's a very simple sauce. It's a very simple pizza. Okay, and I'm just gonna coax this one a little bit more because it's pulling away. Okay, then we're gonna put our cheese on. Okay, and I'm gonna put this. This is like that. All the sharp cheeses that I have. So like provolone, parmesan, or no, not pecorino. Um, Provolone, Asiago, um, and the like. Okay, so we're just gonna spread that out, and then we're gonna put the mozzarella. Okay, and this again is just regular old uh, mozzarella cheese. Mozzarella. Okay, and I'm gonna put. You don't want to put a lot on, but you definitely want it coated. Okay, and you want it all the way to the edge. Okay, no, no crust here. Okay, and this is kind of an interesting style of pizza because it's made in a pan, but it's the total opposite of what you think of when you think of pan pizza because it's very thin. It's going to be like a cracker thin. Okay. So there's our cheese. Now I'm going to, yesterday I did like a very, 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 very basic uh, just cheese pie like this. So I'm going to make it a little more flavorful. Okay. I'm going to put some onion on it. Which I'm going to cut here. Okay. And I'm just going to do like a thin slice here of onion. And then I'm going to put some salami too. Okay, so I want real nice, thin, like paper thin slices of onion. Okay, because you just want it to kind of melt in with the salami. Okay, so I have these. Oh, before I put that on, I'm going to put some of my roasted garlic on too. Okay, so I have a couple pieces of roasted garlic here. And this is really atypical for a bar pie. Bar pies are very simple. They're like pepperoni, cheese. They're smaller. They're not. They're kind of almost like a personal pizza. They're meant to be eaten at a bar and in a small, uh, like a much smaller one. So this is like kind of my take on a bar pie, but it's not. It's not really the shape and size of a bar pie. Okay, so uh, if if you are making it more traditional, you just want to make sure that it's smaller and keep your toppings very simple. The key, the deliciousness of this pizza is that it's a simple pie with simple ingredients, and that's what shines. Okay, so I'm kind of souping it up a little bit, but yesterday I made the very simple. It was just cheese and some sauce. Okay, so you can, of course, like I'm doing, soup it up, but it's also really good just by itself. The other really notably amazing thing about this pie is that it has a very crisp, crackery crust. So that makes it really, really cool. Okay, so now we're going to put on the salami and then we'll top it with the onion that I just sliced. Okay, so we have some Genovese salami. We have some Calabrese, which is spicy. This is like what the precursor to pepperoni was. Uh, and then we have some fennel salami. Okay, so that kind of gives you like a Italian sausage type situation. Okay, and you don't try not to overlap them. Try and have them all kind of like by themselves. Okay. Then we're gonna pop on our onion, and I like to put the onion on the top. Okay, and the reason why I like to do that is because the onion on the top will kind of use some of the oil from the salami that it renders out, and that'll just give it like a really great flavor. It'll really impart the flavor into the um, into the onion. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna throw on a little bit more onion. And you hear the oven running in the background. That was preheated to uh, the highest temperature your oven can go to. Mine is like 550 that it goes to. So you want the oven up to 550. And you want it on the lowest rack. Now set it for 8 minutes and then come back and check it at 8 minutes to see if it needs more time. Okay. It usually takes about uh, 12 to 15 minutes total, depending on your oven. Okay, so we'll be back and check it in 8 minutes. Okay, Kitchen Kings and Queens, we are back. And it took about uh, 15 minutes. I checked it at 8 minutes and I put it for another seven, I think 6 minutes. So we are ready to move on with this. Okay, so I'm going to take it out of the pan and it should come right out. It did pull, you could see it did pull away from the sides a little bit. So there is a little bit of a, like a pull, see how it pulled back from the sides? So we're just gonna slide it onto here and just take that off, rinse. The quicker you rinse the pan, and kind of okay. So now we could cut it. Okay, and hear the crisp. The onions, you may want to go a little thicker on the onions just because of um, the high temperature of the oven. They did get a little burnt. That doesn't bother me very much, but if you like a little lighter of an onion, definitely pull back. Okay, so here's our barb pie. Okay, and it's got a nice crispy bottom on there. Not quite as crispy as I had hoped. I could have left it in a little bit longer. And really, to get that super crispiness on the bottom, you want to make sure that you are really light with your toppings. That's why these pies have such low toppings. I wanted a really souped up pizza, so I knew it wasn't going to be as crispy as it should. But if you stick to sparse topping and a nice dry uh, sauce, you'll get a real crispy crust this way. Okay, so I hope you try this. It's a real kitchen quickie. We'll do this again and we'll do it the right way with the right size, but this is going to be delicious anyway. So I'll give you a little sneak taste. Mm. Mm. The salami is really good. The crust is really nice and crispy. Not again, the outer edge here is really crispy. That's what you'll get the whole way through if you're not topped as much as you have. Okay. So I hope you try this. I hope you enjoy it if you do. And I'll see you later. Bye, Kitchen Kings and Queens.